I'm not an energy expert. I wouldn't say I'm a climate justice expert, but I am clear about the need for us to be building community power. And when we start the conversation at really looking at how communities have been disinvested in over time, like where we left off, we really need to look at especially energy, but then also looking at the just transition in general as ways to build the resiliency and to rebuild the economic basis of communities that have suffered at the hands of capitalist exploitation, right? Because what we are really talking about is capitalism. Right? We're talking about the patterns of capitalism, the pursuit of profit, and how the pursuit of profit is not just detrimental to ourselves and our livelihoods, but is detrimental to the earth overall. Right? And so when we have this conversation and we're talking about this narrative around how it is that, how we build what it is that we need to build, whatever that vehicle is to push for this change, one of those things that we really have to do is we have to address this narrative. We have to address this common sense, right, that dictates what our solutions have to look like. Right? Like we're being told that solutions have to be large scale. They say that about every alternative solution. When it comes to energy, when it comes to housing, the question is always scale, right? Scale is a false way to push us back. Right? What we have to do is we have to continue to move forward on our projects, no matter how big or how small, right, to create the alternatives that our communities need, regardless of scale. Right? We have to not let that stop us from our creativity. We have to not let that stop us from still finding the resources and moving forward with what it is that we need to do to build the type of community control that we're actually going to need. Right? Because the problem is that when we look at how advanced capitalism is and how much that has destroyed our democracy, that has an impact on the very communities that we want to be engaged in these processes. The very people that we need to stand up, right? The very people that need to put pressure on our targets, the very people that need to be doing the lobbying, the very people that need to be voting to put new people into office to make different decisions. Like, those folks are being severely impacted by the fact that our democracy has been stripped away by the advance of capitalism. So we really have to think about what it looks like, right? What does a new narrative look like that's going to engage those communities, right? What does a new narrative look like that's going to push back on what has decimated democracy, and what are new ways that we create what we at Causa Justa and a lot of other people call, what are other ways that we're going to create community protagonism, right? So that way people are used to being engaged, people are used to being involved, people are used to taking back the decisions around their life that have been taken away by the way that capitalist interests and corporate interests have taken control of everything, right? It used to be, right, that some people. And I hear my mother tell stories. My mother, her family, she grew up in Mississippi. My grandparents were sharecroppers, right? So knowing where your food came from and seeing that from the bull running around or the pig running around, the chicken running around to the table, you have a certain consciousness around what it takes to actually, to grow your food and to kill your food and to, clean it and eat it. Right? There's a certain level of consciousness that you get around that. There's a certain level of appreciation, that you have then for the earth and for that animal, right? There's a connection, right, that you have to that process. And what has happened to us over time is that the over-commodification of a number of different things has led to us not having that connection. Right? We don't have the connection to the things we eat. We don't have the connection to people that we sit next to. We don't have a connection to the earth, right? So we really have to think about how it is that we are making those connections, how it is that we're connecting to each other, how it is that we're expanding our consciousness beyond the ways that this common sense ideology wants to dumb us down, right? Because the very people that we want to get involved, that we want to get engaged, that we need to be putting the pressure on people in power and making new decisions, those folks are really caught up in the day-to-day trying to survive, right? People are having to work 2 and 3 jobs to pay rent. You know, if you look at Oakland, Oakland has the second highest rent increases in the nation, right? The San Francisco's highest in the world, or something crazy like that, right? So when you're looking at how much capitalism has advanced, we really have to think about what are strategies to engage the communities, what are the solutions that we're putting forward that are real solutions, and how do those solutions inspire people? How are those things that are accessible to people, right? Because there's a lot of stuff, I mean, all of the gigatons of carbon, I mean, you know, how do we popularize this notion, right? What do we need to do to make this mass? Because this is great to see everyone here today, right? But the crisis that we're in across the board really calls for, you know, us to have millions of people out in the street every day, right? Really pushing on significantly transforming society, right? Because we definitely have to get those low-hanging fruits, but we need to have some significant transformation for human survival to even continue on this planet, right? So what is the narrative that we need to put forward? What are the visions that we need to put forward? What are the ways that we need to be inspiring communities and putting out a vision that's going to really get communities in the room, people wanting to make decisions, and people feeling like it's their right, and having that entitlement to actually take back, you know, what is our right, taking back our right to health, taking back our right to healthy food, taking back our right to clean air, taking back our right to healthy homes, right? How can we do that? Right, and how do we move people to that point? And that's really what has to happen, is that we really have to organize, right? We have to organize, we have to shift the narrative, and we have to build community institutions whereby people are practicing their protagonism, so we can, as a brother was saying earlier, so we can learn how to govern with each other, because we have to transform everything that is happening right now. And when we transform it, we have to be better. We have to be ready to be better stewards, right? So how do we prepare ourselves for that now?